You can buy $446,000 per year in profit for $135,000 in 4 to 6 months. And here's how. Go to bizbuysell.com and look for a commercial landscaping company in Harris County. Watch out for the diversity of the client base and maybe ask them why they haven't scaled further after 34 years. Then note that you like the simplicity of the business and that there's a team in place. After that, contact your team to help you underwrite, your accountant, your lawyer, your equity partner. Always be well networked and always be working LinkedIn to get those connections. After that, buy the business and watch the profit roll in as you pick up lessons along the way. So why is the diversity of the client base important? I'm sitting here and I'm talking about having the profits roll in, picking up lessons along the way, but in the due diligence, you need to know why diversity of client base is important. And for me, I've heard a lot of mergers and acquisitions people talk about this, but take a business that has 5 clients that are all paying $50,000 and take a business that has 100 clients all paying $5,000, right? The business that has 5 clients paying large sums of money are way at risk. If one client leaves, 20% of their revenue leaves. If you have 100 clients and 5 clients leave, 5% of your revenue leaves. So it's just about diversity of clients, diversifying your risk, which is a core business tenet, if you will. And what about the culture makes me want to know more is the other question I would ask about this business. So yes, diversity of client base, we got to make sure our risk is diversified, but then the leadership team. I like that a leadership team is in place, but I want to know more about the culture. And I'll tell you why for me specifically. Back when I was working at a company, call center, there were people, it was remote, kind of not a minimum wage job, but lower salary job, and not a lot of room for bonuses. It didn't necessarily attract killers because it wasn't a killer opportunity. It was a job to help you get the experience you needed to kind of launch into the sales world. Well, I left that company after 6, 7, 8 months, something like that. And after I left, my brother kind of turned to me and he told me about the fact that some of the culture in the company was leading to some people slacking on work. The job was to make 180 cold calls per day, and some people were making 0, some people were making 30 and just saying that they made 180. And so it's important, yes, there's a leadership team in place, but what's the culture of that team and how are you incentivizing high performance? Because when it's kind of a lower salary job, there's not a lot of bonus opportunity, there's not a revenue share, the incentives may not be aligned. When the incentives aren't aligned, it's hard to make sure that people's actions are aligned with your goals. So that's really why I would want to know about the culture, just that aligning of the incentives and making sure that we're attracting A players with an A type of opportunity. And so what's important about simplicity and a team is another question that I would ask when jumping into this. And for me, simplicity is just, helps you move with speed. And having a team in place is great because the right people will take it far. I can jump into a business and I can do the things that I think work in that business, but it's very difficult for me to, I don't know. It's very difficult for me to trust that I can scale alone because you can't scale alone. So when I have a simple business model that I can understand and a team in place that can help me scale, and I'm starting to understand the culture, and yes, it is an A-type opportunity, there are A players around us, and we're attracting A-level effort. That's when I'm feeling like, yes, we can move fast, we can do great, because there is a team in place that can take us far, they understand the industry, they understand how we can grow, and because the business model is simple scales. Complicated doesn't scale. When you have one person, and you need them to be very specialized, and your processes only work when that person is in that role, you're kind of at a bottleneck in your business. You need to make sure that you simplify your systems and simplify your processes so that you can focus and move fast. Now, earlier in the podcast, I talked about, hey, you need to talk to your lawyers, you need to talk to your accountants, you need to talk to your equity partners. Make sure you're always connected by working LinkedIn. And now I'm going to give you the networking tip on how to connect with people on LinkedIn. And it's really as simple as shooting out those connection requests. I mean, it is actually that simple. Once you shoot out the connection request, say you shoot out 100 a week, 15 to 20 people are going to accept, and then ask for resources to educate yourself about whatever field you're trying to go into. So if you're about to buy a manufacturing business and you connect with people who are owners of manufacturing companies, out of 100, you may have 10 people connect. Out of those 10, ask for industry associations, ask for best tips, best practices. Do you know anybody who's bought one that can give me an idea of how the first 6 months of running the company should go? When you start to ask about these things and you give people an opportunity to help you, an opportunity to bear your burdens with you, if you will, you'll be surprised what people come up and say, what they come up and do. And I'm going to tell you guys a quick story about my now wife. She was not my wife then. We were about to graduate college and we were debating moving to Austin. And what it really came down to was Gracie saying, hey, to move to Austin, I need a job lined up doing what I want to do. I was like, okay, well, the best way to get a job is through a relationship. The best way to get anything is through a relationship, whether it's money, whether it's a job, whether it's opportunity, whether it's tips or skills or whatever. Just get it through people. Who, not how. Ask yourself who, not how. And so when Gracie and I were kind of figuring out how to get her a job, I was like, well, start connecting with people who are doing the job that you want to be doing and ask them if they know anybody that's hiring. And so we got on and we shot out 15, 20 connections a day, 5 or 10 connections a day, and we would shoot people messages after they connected with us. And Gracie was doing a bit of networking on LinkedIn. And if I'm being honest, I had done some networking on LinkedIn. Opportunities had come my way because of it in some real estate space, but I didn't really know if it was going to work. However, we were connecting on LinkedIn, and in all that connecting, she found some resources. She was talking to a couple people like, hey, tell me about the education space in Austin. Who should I talk to if I'm trying to get a job? And I pointed her to some places. Hey, I know this small education consulting firm that is hiring right now. Maybe apply there. And I mean, we were coming out of undergrad, so we only had our bachelor's. And there were, hundreds of applicants, I think. Definitely like over 50 there were a lot of applicants. I don't know exactly the number, but despite all those applicants, some of them having master's degrees, some of them having PhDs, I believe. Maybe not that far, but definitely in the master's degree range, the employer picked my wife. And they picked my wife not because she was taking initiative and networking on LinkedIn and finding that opportunity, but because she was the perfect person for that opportunity. And what I'm saying is there might be a business out there that you are the perfect person to buy that business. You are the perfect person to operate that business, but if you're not networking, if you don't know the accountants, the lawyers, the equity partners, the business brokers, and the sellers to get that opportunity in front of you, if you're not actively curating your network, you may be missing out on the perfect opportunity. And you'll know when you get it. Because yes, my wife applied. Gracie was doing her thing. She was doing the interview process. She was a little nervous during the process, but she just really liked the people. The opportunity seemed to really fit, and the people really liked her, and the opportunity seemed to really fit. And they hired her over people with a master's degree, over people who were on paper more qualified, because she was a culture fit, and the opportunity was perfect for her. In the same way, actively be reaching out on LinkedIn, actively be asking people for resources that will help you in your goal, and if they know other people who would like to help you. And through doing that networking, you might just find the perfect opportunity for you. That's what we got for you guys today on the show. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next one. And on that note, we're out.